Hello, so this is the start of our section on computational strings, and our goal for this section is to be able to write some poetry using Wolfram Language. So first out, we're going to start off by learning about string manipulation. So in this section, we're going to be working with strings to write and analyze text. By the end of this session, you're going to be able to compare and contrast strings with other data types, so learning the different data type that is a string. We're going to be able to write code to manipulate strings, and we're going to be able to generate strings using templates, which are a really cool way of working with strings in Wolfram Language. So there are loads of different ways to get words in the Wolfram Language. The basic way, easiest way, is that we can look at the dictionary, which gives us a list of about 40,000 words in English. So if we look at word list, then we get this really long list of words, which we can do all kinds of stuff with. We can also use functions like random word to generate a random word. And within random word, we can specify if we want a noun, verb, adjective, or a different type of word. So let's get a tiny bit more complicated. So we're going to be joining and splitting strings. So all text in Wolfram Language is a string. So if we look at the head of the string hello, it's going to tell us that it's a string. We write strings using quotation marks. So quotation marks, the string, end quotation marks, gives us a string. If we have multiple words in a string, then we can separate them using a function called string split, which automatically splits the string at each space. So if we type in our string with multiple words, then we're going to get out our nice list of separate strings. If we want to join a list of strings together into one string, then we can do that with string join. So if I give it my list of strings, then it will return a single string with all those words slammed together. So that looks a little weird because we lost all of the spaces. A way we can get those back and also do all kinds of other things is by using a function called riffle, which puts something in between every item in a list. So I'm going to give riffle my list of strings, and I'm going to tell it to put a string that is just a single space in between all of the strings, and now I get my list, including a bunch of strings that are just a space, and then if I string join those back together, then I get my sentence back with all of its spaces in the right place. And obviously we don't have to do this using two different lines of code. We can nest our functions. So if we string join the riffle of this, then we get our nice sentence back. Great, so now let's move into manipulating our strings. There are a bunch of functions that we can use to analyze and manipulate strings. A number of them are similar to functions that we've already seen on other data types like lists, but these versions of the functions work on strings. So for example, string part works just like part. So we give it our string and we say we'd like the 10th part of this. In this case, we get our t, which is the 10th item in our string. Similarly, string length will give us the length of the string. String drop allows us to drop everything from the beginning. So if we say we'd like 10 things, then we get to drop everything except for the last 10. Same thing works with take, so string take. String reverse lets us reverse all the letters in the string. String join is a function we've already used, and it's really useful when working with deconstructing and reconstructing strings. So we can use the full form of string join, which we've looked at already, or we can use our two greater than, less than signs as shorthand, so we can just plop them all in. Most string functions are listable, which means that we can apply them to all items in a list without needing to use map or table. For example, we can find all the words in this string and then find the length of all of the words. So text words gives us a list of all of the words, and then if we do string length to that list of all the words, it's going to tell us the length of each of those individual strings. Fantastic. So the final thing we're going to learn is about using templates. So a really cool thing that we can do with strings is inserting a piece of text into another piece of text using template and the rule function. So if I write out the string template of my name is, and then I do these backward ticks around name. Then I can set up an association next to it that says whenever you see backward tick name, replace it with Harry Potter. So now I get my name is Harry Potter. We can do this multiple times just by adding things to the association. So I make sure that I label the things that I want to replace with the keys from the association. I write out the association, and now I can replace the text. We can even evaluate code before we put it into the string using rule delayed. So if I make up a string template and I want to just have a random number put in there, then I can do, my favorite number is backtick number, and then I can replace number with a random integer between 1 and 100, and each time I evaluate this now, I'm going to get a different number that's my favorite number. So templates are going to be really important as we move through the next few lessons and into the next project, and they can be really helpful with doing all kinds of things like writing reports, making websites, and all kinds of activities and adventures that you might get up to later. So in summary, for this lesson, we've covered a lot of basic string manipulation, and our key takeaways from the lesson are that we represent text in Wolfram using strings, and we indicate those strings with quotation marks. There are loads of functions that we can use to manipulate a string. Some of them have names that are really similar to functions that work with other type of data, but in this case it only works for strings. And string template is a really cool function that lets us computationally build up a piece of text by replacing a section of the string. Great, then we will see you in our next lesson. Thank you.